We'll turn mute off with news for you.
We get started right on time this morning. I'm sure there'll be some more people trickling in. We're unmuted online. Yep. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for coming this morning. It's already May, or the end of May. I have a few announcements from Livable Neighborhood. So we have the impact grant checks available for anybody that applied. Mina's working on getting those to folks that she's seen come in, but if you know you have one and you haven't gotten one yet, make sure you get it before you leave. So we continue to do work in our Neighborhood Connectedness Committee and our Wyandotte Connect Coalition. The Neighborhood Connectedness Committee is focusing on neighbor-to-neighbor connection and improving safety at a neighborhood level. And the Connect Wyandotte Coalition is more of a broad-reaching coalition of neighborhood work, and it's looking to improve the built environment in our community that would promote connection. So if you're not involved in those and if that's something you want to be involved in, let me know, send me an email or see me afterwards and I can get you the invitations for those committees. And then as a reminder, our final session of Civic Connect, it's session 4. Our final session of that series will be June 11th, which is the second Tuesday in June. This session will provide an overview of our property maintenance compliance our division and the 311 reporting system. So I know there's a lot of interest in that. This will take place right here in this room at the NRC. It's at 5:30 on June 11th. If you haven't registered to attend and that's something you'd like to attend, again, let me know either after this meeting or send me an email. We do provide dinner, so I just want to get an accurate count for food. All right, so that's all the announcements that I have. I'm gonna shut this door because I feel like sound kind of gets carried out and it's easier to hear when the door's shut. We have two presentations today. Our first is from Alyssa Marcy with UG Planning and Urban Design about the waterway corridor. And then after that, we'll have Hannah Connor from the Health Department. So Alyssa, if you'd like to come on up, it's your turn.
I'm like mildly freaked out because someone looked at my name online and I was. Another version of myself.
Okay, there's your presentation. What?
I know, I'm like, something funny is happening.
All right, so
Good morning, everyone. My name is Alyssa Marcy. I'm the long range planner for the UG. I have these waterway corridor flyers. They're supposed to be like a trifold, but they're rough draft form. So if you want, there's some more over there, but that's kind of today. So this is a little bit different because I'm actually going to be asking for your feedback and guidance as the planning and the public works department through engagement for our waterway corridor plan. So I think some of you might have attended some of our pizza and planning for Plan KTK, but essentially it's going to be that similar style where really I'm going to tell you kind of our goals for this project, a little bit about it, what we planned for engagement so far, and then any feedback that you may have on how to improve that, how to change language. Honestly, if you have any changes on this, if you're like, this doesn't make sense, the general public will understand it, that's helpful. So that's kind of how this is going to go today. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about the waterway corridor plan. So it's a little fuzzy on this particular document, but essentially waterway corridor is sort of the name that we gave for this area in the Northeast KTK that's from Waterway Park all the way up to Jersey Creek. So kind of something that is based on the work that has to be done in this area and kind of the neighborhoods that it touches, and that's what we're calling waterway corridor. So the goals right now are that, one, we're using this as an opportunity to educate the public about combined sewer systems. So it's a complex topic, but we need to be able to tell the public what it is because it impacts our daily lives. The second is informing the public on what a consent decree is. And then what this plan itself will do, and I'll get into that in a little bit. And then lastly is to hopefully gain some buy-in for this plan so that we can get it adopted. So that's our overarching goals of why we're going out and doing engagement. So before I dive in, how many folks here have heard Brush Creek referred to as Flush Creek? Just by a show of hands. Cool, great. So that's an example on the Missouri side of the damages of a combined sewer system. So if you turn to the, it's okay. You can just leave it where it is. So basically what happened like 60 plus years ago across the country is at the time engineers thought that it would make sense to have all of your stormwater, so that's all of the water that comes onto the roads that goes into the sewer or into the stormwater drains, and all of the water that comes out of your house, which is from your sinks, your toilets, your your washer, to go all into the same pipe. And then, that pipe takes it away from your house and takes it away from the streets. And the goal was to treat that water all collectively. The problem is, in theory, that made sense back when we didn't have quite as many rain events as we do now. The issue is that when you have one single pipe and you have all of your stormwater and all of the stuff from homes going into a pipe, they become inundated with too much water. And then suddenly you're getting an overflow, and then you're getting all of that gross stuff that comes out of your toilet and your sinks that goes into the streets, or in some cases into things like Brush Creek, which is how it got its name, is because we had things that were coming out of pipes that were going into our creeks. So the Environmental Protection Agency, probably about, I would say 20 years ago, was like, hey, this is really bad. We can't keep doing this. This is bad for public health. We don't want to keep these things in the same pipe. We need to separate them. That's generally the direction that the EPA and the federal government have been going in. Is to say, all right, if you have one single combined pipe, you got to make it two. You got to keep your stormwater separate, and you got to keep all of your other stuff separate. So all across the country, this is happening where cities are having to deal with changing their pipes. The problem is it's really expensive. And if you do any research on this and just Google like water infrastructure in the US, we are like billions and billions of dollars behind in fixing these pipes all across the country. So the federal government has done a couple of things to try to address this. So one of those is a consent decree. And basically what that says is the federal government finds, okay, this particular combined pipe, and in our instance, it's the one in this area of Northeast KCK, is your worst out of all of them. And you need to fix that first. And we're going to give you a deadline for when you have to fix it. And if you don't fix it by the deadline, we're going to fine you $1,000 a day. So big deal, right? We have to do it. We know that we have to do it. We have to make two pipes. That's just it. So that's how this whole project came about, was the federal government came to the UG, said, here are all of your combined sewers across the county. Here are the worst, we're going to start with those, and here are your deadlines. So in that sense, we have to do this work. However, what we're also trying to do is, okay, while we're in the ground digging up these pipes, already going to, be kind of making a mess, what other public amenities can we put in there that maybe aren't required by the consent decree, but would improve the community? So, and that's why you'll kind of see on the back of this flyer here, it talks about that, right? So we have our required improvements. We can't do anything about that. We got to just change the pipes. But then, can we add street trees? Can we add, park amenities? Can we add better sidewalks? Those types of things. So the intent of this waterway corridor plan was to say, hey, while we're in there doing these pipes, what other kinds of things can we do to improve the community so that, while we're there, we can get everything done once. So that's kind of the gist of the plan. And that's really the biggest goal that we're trying to communicate, is that we have to do certain things, but we're using this as an opportunity to then go in and do more. And this is something that we have to go and, fundraise for, or not fundraise, get grants for and get other money for, because it is an additional cost.
There was a question that I saw pop up that, do you know when we got the consent decree?
So we've got that, so Public Works manages this, so I'll have to clarify, but every 10 years, there's a plan for what stormwater needs to be fixed in those next 10 years. So I think we're in the first couple of years of that. I know that phase one, which is just a piece of this corridor, has to be done by the end of this year. And that's not going to be the whole thing, right? It's only a section of it. But I can say that we've known about this for a couple of years. But again, these deadlines are starting to come up. So this is just the first place where this is happening. But this will be happening across all of KZK, which is why it's important for everyone to understand what is going on. Any questions about that so far?
Ashley did just answer 2020,
2020.
and we did negotiate for a decade.
Yes. Okay. Any other? Yep, go ahead.
About state funding, how is the state?
Yeah, so typically how these are being funded are two primary programs. So one is the state revolving fund, so SRF, every state has it. So those either can be low interest loans or no interest loans. It kind of depends on the state and the place. The other way that these are funded, and this is a long one, it's called the Water Infrastructure and Finance Innovation Act. WIFIA, that's what everyone calls it. The federal government literally created it for this purpose because they realized that cities didn't have the money to pay for all of this. So those are the two primary things that we're using to pay for this. The other thing is the Army Corps also has opportunities. But when it comes to the additions here, the green infrastructure, the public amenities, those are even like other grant programs that we're looking at state and federal level to get money for that kind of stuff.
What did you say that everyone was water?
So WIFIA is the acronym. It's the Water Infrastructure and Finance Innovation Act. And that was started, I want to say around like 2016, 2016. So that's how we're financing the things we have to do, which is the pipes. And then we're getting grant money to do the other things. And then part of that also is why you're seeing stormwater rate increases on your utility bills, because we have these deadlines. We're trying to avoid getting fined a bunch of money on a daily basis if we miss these deadlines. So that's why it's tricky, but we are doing as much as we can to supplement with funding, low interest loans, those kinds of things. Other questions? Okay, so, like I said, can't see.
Okay, would it be possible for the connectedness committee and the residents to get a chart of the areas we plan to begin construction?
Yes, absolutely. Definitely, we can do that. We are working on a webpage, which hopefully will be live in about a week. So I'll make sure that that information is on there, and I can send you that too,
Okay.
so that everyone can access it. Okay, so, that being said, since this is in Northeast KCK, our focus is to go to all of the neighborhoods around this project, not necessarily even the ones that overlap, but everyone kind of in the Northeast, because those, the combined sewer systems we have to fix first all happen to be in the Northeast. So our plan so far is we're going to all of the existing neighborhood groups, and we've asked if we could come and speak at their meetings. I think we have about 8 or 9 neighborhood groups that we're going to. Over the next couple of months, we're also going to go to the Parks Board. We're here now soon. We're happy to come back. And so our approach was less so to try to have events where people come to us and instead go to the, the spaces that already are having, gathering folks. So my questions to you is, 1, is this information clear? 2, what's missing? And then 3, what else can we do to engage with the public more effectively? I'll leave that.
Media comment.
I talked to churches.
Churches, yep. It's a good idea.
I did have to hear this information multiple times.
Yep.
Before I understood it, and you guys might know, we've been talking about this for 7 or 8 years. And it's just something that's, I had to hear it anytime before I grasped it.
We have a budget number yet.
I can pull that for you. I don't know off the top of my head. Sarah Schaefer from Public Works was supposed to be here today, but she unfortunately had something come up. So we can put a lot of this information on the website so that it's publicly available for you.
So Linda from the library said, right, information materials, we'd be happy to put them out publicly.
That's great. And something I will say that we're trying to do, especially with these, is we're doing materials, and you only see English today, we're trying to do the top 3 languages. So English, Spanish, and It's a little bit tricky to pin down what the third most common language in an area is, but there is some research about it. So we do have some information that's in the poly as well.
The other one was, let's see, did folks talk about high school, also Army Corps of Engineers now has an AmeriCorps EPA type funding? And then have you thought about any summer programs that you can go and speak with the youth, getting ideas on green infrastructure after the playing?
It's a great point.
Do you have a timeline for this specific corridor?
So like I said, the first phase has to be completed by this year. That's just the piping. So the entire thing will probably take 2-ish years to do the pipe part of it. So all of the other stuff, like I said, is extra. So we have a little bit more room on that wiggle room. But I think when, people are gonna go outside and see, construction happening, it's probably good for them to know beforehand.
Just might be good to add to the flyer, just a basic timeline, because like Commissioner said, we've been talking about stormwater for many, many, many years and haven't really come to a conclusion or had, projects start. So having some sort of timeline of what this specific project, so that other neighborhoods that are also struggling, we have an idea of where they're looking at.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Elnora Jefferson online had a question. Elnora, if you want to go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's a great presentation, Alyssa. The question I have concerns the infrastructure. You had mentioned the Army Corps of Engineers and some of the innovative, progressive uses of infrastructure to improve the water quality as well as to enhance the actions that are coming as a result of the consent decree. My question is, are there any examples? Are there any examples of successes in using infrastructure anywhere in the United States to enhance those two areas?
When you say infrastructure, Elnora, are you talking about the pipes themselves, or are you talking about like the trees and the grid infrastructure?
I'm talking about the green infrastructure. I'm also talking about perhaps the reconstruction of corridors if they're needed.
Sure, yeah. I could pull up some examples and put those on the website as well, but there's definitely been cases all over, and we could just look across the river in Missouri to see some of those examples too. I can get you those.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There was one more comment online from Nozelle Brown. She just mentioned it's important to help the community understand that this is beyond a cosmetic upgrade, that it's an environmental emergency that
Yeah.
the EPA has flagged for many years earlier, and the can has been kicked down the road.
Yeah.
And if it's not dealt with, this can have detrimental effects on the community if we don't address it.
Okay. And then I know there's yep, go ahead.
Good morning, Valdine Wynn. This is a follow-up to this lady's question about explaining to the public the digging phase.
Yeah.
It may be a separate, it may be combined, but clearly explain to portion of the neighborhood that you're working impact, what streets will be closed, what driveways will be impacted. So that you don't have surprise and calls to your office. Or to your. Yes.
Okay.
For future questions, or like comments on this, do you want them to reach out to you or Sarah?
Yeah, I do have a business card over there. If you want to reach out to me, definitely happy to hear.
When you said what was missing from your presentation and the information, if I was a resident in that area listening to all of that, and I know you mentioned the increase in stormwater rates, but I would ask, is it going to impact my taxes?
Okay.
I think it's time we gotta move on to our next presentation.
Cool.
But I appreciate your comments. I appreciate Alyssa coming out. Be sure to grab her card if you have some more stuff that you want to add. The email's A Marcy, right? I'm not right in the chat.
All right, thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have Hannah Connor with the Public Health Department, and I will pull up her presentation. Too many PowerPoint slides open, sorry. I'll get there in one day. There we go. There we go. Okay, Hannah, take it away.
Hey, hi, everybody. My name is Hannah Connor. I am the social epidemiologist at the Wyandotte County Health Department. And I'm here today to talk about the heat watch that we did last August. A year ago, almost to the day, I was here to tell you guys about this big heat watch event that we were planning for last August. And I'm really excited to be here today to tell you what we found from that heat watch event. So for our next slide, I'll just kind of go over a little bit about what the urban heat island is and why we wanted to measure it. So the urban heat island effect is the phenomenon where urban areas like KCK can be hotter in the really dense areas where there's a lot of buildings, a lot of skyscrapers, a lot of roads, and areas in the suburbs or areas that are next to parks or next to woods are going to be much, much cooler. So we're really interested to see which parts of the county are experiencing that urban heat island effect, are being a lot hotter than some of the cooler areas. And the temperature differences are usually 5 to 7 degrees between the hottest parts of the county and the coolest parts of the county, but sometimes they can be as extreme as 20 degrees difference. And this little diagram just kind of explains where there's a lot of buildings, a lot of constructions, a lot of human activity. The temperature is going to be much higher than out in areas where maybe it's just suburbs. Maybe there's a lot of vegetation. Maybe there's a lot of parks or woods, things like that. So this is what we wanted to measure for the county ourselves. And this was, I want to mention, a joint project with Wyandotte County and Johnson. And then the reason we care about heat at the health department is that it can have a lot of impacts on people's health. It can cause heat exhaustion, heat cramps, heat stroke. It can exacerbate already existing chronic illnesses, and it can create a big energy burden on some of the areas where it's really hot because you have to pump up your AC a lot in the summertime on those really hot days. And if you're in a hotter area, you're going to have to use it a lot more than in a cooler area with natural cooling resources like a lot of shade from trees or something like that. The next slide. So what we did was last August with the help of NIHHIS, which is a portion of NOAA. I don't really remember what the acronym stands for, to be completely honest, but it is, I think it's National Integrated Heat Health Information Services, something like that. But essentially, if you go to heat.gov, that's all they care about is heat. And so they gave us about $20,000 to do a big measurement event in Wyandotte County and Johnson County. And so this is kind of an overview of what we did last August. We had community volunteers come to this very building, pick up supplies, and then go on about a 10 square mile, 1 hour driving route with monitors attached to their car. And they drove 3 times on one day. So some people showed up here at 5:30, bless them, I'm so appreciative of them, 3 p.m., 7 p.m. to drive all around the county and collect these data. And these temperature sensors, or sorry, these sensors collected temperature information, relative humidity, and I think one more thing, but I can't see because it's location. Great, thank you so much. All right, next slide. Please.
There we go.
Perfect. No, that's great. So on August 12th, we were able to measure across Wyandotte and Johnson County, 310 square miles. We had 60 Wyandotte County volunteers show up that day and help us out. So that was really awesome. They drove 10 routes within Wyandotte County. Across Wyandotte and Johnson, there were over 200,000 measurements collected. And what we found in the results is that the max temperature on that day in one of the neighborhoods was 96.6 degrees. And that was 11.7, and there was a temperature difference of 11.7 degrees. And I'll explain that a little bit more as I go forward. But here are some pictures from that day. You'll recognize this very hallway. And these are the sensors that people attached to their cars and then drove around with for about an hour. Next slide, please. And there was baby delivered. That was in Johnson County. But yes, I don't think it was the first pregnancy. She was very unconcerned. She was like, I'm having contractions, but I still have time. So here's part of the results. I've really zoned in on Wyandotte County just for reference. Here's Strawberry Hill right here. We're about right here, right now at this Livable Neighborhoods meeting. Out here is the Speedway. Down here is Edwardsville, and down here is Rosedale. So the really, really dark red areas are 95.5 degrees in the afternoon. And you want to compare that to the really, really blue areas, which are only 85.4 degrees. So that's when I said there was that 11-degree temperature difference. That's what I mean. This is the same time of day, 3 to 4 p.m. Everybody drove the routes and it was modeled out to create this map. And what we see from this is some of those hot spots that we're concerned about. So for example, right here is where there's the railway systems in Armourdale. That is really hot because of the high density of concrete and low density of tree canopy. We also see a lot of heat in Strawberry Hill. We also see a lot of heat in the industrial area of Edwardsville and the Legends, where there's a lot of concrete. So I'm hoping these patterns make sense to you all. And if I need to clarify at the end, I'd be happy to do so. I have one more picture to show you. This is the evening area-wide model, and I wanted to show this to you guys because in the evening, it's supposed to be cooler, right? The sun's going down, heat should be dissipating, but you can really see that it continues to be very hot in these urban heat island areas because heat is being trapped by the concrete, by the asphalt, by the industry, or re-released by traffic. So these are the sorts of things that we're concerned about because you want to be cool when you go to sleep. But in these urban heat island areas, you're going to be spending more money to keep your house cool at night because it's not cooling down the way that it should. And again, this is where we saw the biggest heat difference. Again, that one's almost 12 degrees difference between the hottest and the coolest parts of town. Next slide. So here are some of those key takeaways that I've been talking about. The biggest difference is 11.7 degrees Fahrenheit. The recorded high for that day actually at the MCI was 91 degrees, but our volunteers captured some temperature points that were 96 degrees. So it was 5 degrees hotter in some neighborhoods than the recorded temperature that day. And additionally, I didn't show you guys any heat index maps, but we did measure that some of the hottest areas had a heat index of over 100 degrees. So like I kind of showed you in the map, the hottest areas in Wyandotte County were found to be Armourdale and Argentine, as well as the Legends, some Strawberry Hill portion, and the industrial portion of it. So then, how do we use this data? What can we do to be helpful to our community members who might be experiencing worsening consequences? So there are lots of things that can be done. There are things like heat action plans. We can create community planning tools. We can implement tree planting strategies because we know that tree canisters can help keep places cool. But we also have to think about things like stump removal for people so that they can plant trees. How are we going to make sure that any tree damage can be managed effectively? So a lot of these can be really complicated and complex things that we need to work together across departments to work on, especially with the help of community members to make sure we're doing what's right for your neighborhood. Slide, please. So far, we're working really hard to, one, disseminate the data and also infuse this data with other projects. So for example, the waterway corridor is somewhere where this could be helpful because as they're doing things like planting trees and building sidewalks in areas, we can use this data to help make sure that we're tackling both some of the waterway issues and some of the heat issues. This can really be infused across a lot of areas throughout the county. But right now, we're also working on disseminating this information, making it really accessible and usable to our community members. And this is a dashboard that we recently launched in partnership with Johnson County. And I'm going to share the link at the end. But essentially, this is an interactive tool for you all to use at your leisure. We try to provide some information over here on the left about what we did that day, what we measured, what this is showing. And then you can see in the screenshot that these maps are actually interactive and interchangeable. So you can turn on the morning routes, or you can turn on the afternoon routes or the evening routes, whatever you want to see. You can zoom in or out on your particular neighborhood. And you can even, one last thing you can do is like turn on the roads layer and see where all the traffic is. So yeah, this is the one of our first steps in disseminating the information. We want to continue to build this into a story and continue to collaborate across our partner networks to create a really good structured plan for how to tackle heat in the county. We're in the very infant stages of that. But I did want to share this with you because we're really excited for this first step we put out. Next slide, please. And if you want to access the full report, because there's a much longer report and that heat dashboard, you can go to uthealth.info/heat, which is where this QR code is going to be. And it will have links to both the full report, any materials that we will create going forward, and that dashboard. We're going to continue to put stuff out. We're going to continue to make press releases about it. So if you're interested, feel free to keep an eye out, or you can always contact me. My name is spelled wrong in the agenda. It's DR, not more. I'm not calling it Caleb. I've known me for a very long time. But you can share out my email with y'all, and I'm happy to answer any questions always. But yeah, that's all I have for today. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to take them.
I have 2 questions. And UG Public Health maybe now work with horticulturalist in the Parks Department to maybe identify what kinds of trees could be planted, because I'm guessing some trees grow faster than others. And you know, the sooner you can get the canopy, the faster that heat can be lowered. And then I'm really interested in whether or not the BPU has the ability to dig into their data on electric usage and see how it correlates with your map, but more importantly, what that cost. Because that's a real tangible cost to a homeowner.
Absolutely. So to your first question, deciding which trees to plant is really important because you have some things like, redwoods, like we planted on National Tree Day. Beautiful, maybe not the best for shade. But maybe we can plant more maples and make sure that they're, native maples and not invasive maples. Or if we are planting trees like ginkgos, who are, for example, really good at air filtration, that might be, not native, but we know it's also non-invasive. But these are all things that the Parks and Rec Department would definitely be helpful to collaborate on. So that's a collaboration that I'm actively trying to work on. We need to get the funding to do that. So we're tracking currently some grants that we might be able to apply to, but that's definitely part of the plan. We don't want to plant trees. And to the second point, yes, I would love to get some data from BPU. And if that's ever something that we can collaborate on, I don't know. We have some contacts. So like I've worked with Patrice Townsend in the past and some interdisciplinary grant work, but that's something that I would really love to overlay with that. So that's maybe a work in progress because Johnson County would also be interested in getting that data from Evergy. So that would be something that we really want to layer onto and see, because that number would be really impactful going forward.
There were a couple of questions in the chat, or one was a comment, but like the Schlegel Environmental Library might be a good connection to share this information. And Linda from the library said she'll share your website with them, but you might want to reach out.
Yeah.
And then Evie said, are there options other than trees for dense areas and places where trees might interfere with utilities? Thinking like vines on trellises and things like that.
So yes, there are other cooling opportunities. So there are things like cool pavement that exists, where I think you essentially paint the pavement and it just takes in less heat. There's cool roofs that can reduce the amount of heat that is absorbed by a home. Access to cooling centers and access to water features are all things that can help keep people cool in the summer that are something other than trees. Also, good shaded spots in parks and in public spaces are also good ways to stay cool in the summer. So there are a lot of options that aren't just trees, and I want to make sure that I don't just work on trees because I personally love trees. But yes, there are lots of other options there that we want to look into. So definitely some cities, I think it's San Antonio does an under one roof program and they do cool roofs for their folks in their major home repair program. So there are lots of cities that have done things like that other than trees.
I was surprised to see the map comparing Johnson and Wyandotte County and how many really hot spots there are in Johnson County. I assumed it wouldn't be so, but.
I agree with you. We were also surprised to see that. The really hotter areas there were Gardner and Olathe especially because that's more of the plains area. And we see too, because Johnson County's got that really solid like grid system of their roads and all of their intersections are very warm. So that's stuff that they will probably keep in mind when they're doing any sorts of planning. And one thing to keep in mind when we're looking at that map is that we don't necessarily, how do I want to say this? We want to see the comparison between the hottest and the coolest and really focus on the hottest areas where people are living. So that's what they'll have to keep in mind as well. But yeah, we were all very surprised about that.
Question. So it seems like there would be a big intersection between this information and the project that you want to do and the waterway project. So hopefully is there some collaboration?
Oh, yes. I've been in the ears of people over at Public Works. Sarah Schaefer, I've gotten her on the phone a couple of times as we're looking at creating a plan. How can Public Works be able to collaborate with the health department on this? Because, you know, we're just the health department. We don't do roads. We don't do sidewalks. We don't do trees. But I'm hoping that this can be like I can build those relationships and this can be information that they feel free and welcome to use. That this is information that they find helpful so that it can be infused. So keeping those networks open is really important and a high priority for me.
Yeah. All these sidewalks that they're talking about for the waterway project, I mean, if those could be instead be like some kind of permeable paver.
Yeah. Alyssa, we're gonna bother Sarah about that. Of course.
And I do want to commend Sarah Schaefer in Public Works that's leading this waterway corridor project for being so collaborative on it. She's brought in livable neighborhoods way at the beginning to talk about how we can involve neighborhoods, how we can keep the money from the construction project in our community, how we hire workers from our community. She has been very, very thoughtful about how to go about this. So I'm sure she's on board with, you know, involving the health department and infusing as many plans together to work together as we can. So.
Yeah, because none of this works in the silo.
Yeah.
So.
Just real quick, well, maybe another conversation, but I was just wondering, looking at other cities who have done this type of this and different studies that they've done, has there been a consideration or is the health department looking at, like, when you see those red zones and kind of overlaying that with historical data on an increase in domestic calls and things like that, because that prolonged heat does have a very definite impact on our community members. And so didn't know if that was part of maybe somewhere down the road or if that was a consideration.
It sure could be. Yeah, there's definitely empirical evidence of increases in violence when it's hotter. So that's definitely something that we should look into in the future. That's not an overlay that we've done yet, but it certainly is something that we would be interested, especially since violence prevention is something that's part of our community health improvement plan. And so I certainly think that that's something that can be intersected as well. It kind of impacts everything. It kind of reaches into everything. So I'm hoping that this can be helpful to many departments, many divisions going forward. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Hannah. Evan says good job on the layout and the information posted.
Thank you.
and other vegetation can
Yeah.
help as well.
Really, anything that isn't asphalt.
Well, thank you, Hannah. I appreciate you sharing this with us. And I didn't realize it had been almost a year since. That worked out perfect.
I know.
Yeah, thanks for coming back and sharing with us about that.
Thanks, guys.
So we'll go into our community updates here. Try to keep them brief, about 3 minutes or less. And we'll start with the KCK School District.
Hello and good morning, everyone. Just to start off, I have a few things. On behalf of the Superintendent, Dr. Anna Stubblefield, we would like to thank everyone who took the time to vote in the May 7th bond election. While the outcome wasn't what we hoped that it would turn out to be, we do appreciate the engagement in the democratic process of our community, in which again reflects the commitment of the future of our schools and community as a whole. So we look forward to continuing the conversation as we move forward towards a stronger future. And again, just thanks for the turnout and the participation. Also, in addition, I want to thank all of the community organizations for allowing Dr. Stubblefield to come to your meetings to share information about the bond proposal. So we appreciate that as well. And I want to give a quick shout out to Mayor and CEO Tyrone Garner and his office staff, and to the DA, Mark Dupree, and his staff for attending our graduation ceremonies and showing their support for our student graduates and their families on this special day. It's always good to see the mayor, his staff, and the DA, and them shaking hands with all of our graduates. So that's all I have. Marco has an update that he would like to share as well.
Good morning, folks. Marco Johnson with the school district. I'm going to piggyback on what Edwin just said. I just dropped in a link in the chat. It's our Flickr page. If you have a niece or a nephew or a grandson that took part in graduation, we have tons of pictures for you to check out. So go to our Flickr page and check out all the wonderful shots that we took. It was a beautiful event at Sporting KC. The venue was just picture perfect. So you'll see some of those shots and just enjoy that. Today is the last day of school. Some of you are saying yay. Some of you are saying, oh my God. But nonetheless, today is the last day of school. But our summer learning program starts up in a few days. June the 3rd, our summer learning program will kick off, and it will run through the 26th. It'll be a Monday through Thursday class, and it's a 4.5 hours per day. We mention that because we just want to remind folks that school zones are still in effect when we're having our summer learning program. So be cautious, be aware that our kiddos are either walking to school or walking to the bus stop. So just be mindful of our kiddos as they go off to summer school this summer. That's all I got. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Turner School District, USD 202.
Good morning, everyone. We are officially on summer break. Our last day of school was on Tuesday, and had a wonderful graduation ceremony on Monday. Had about 250 students graduate from Turner High School and Journey School of Choice. So that is all I have for this month. We're looking forward to great summer programs happening in our district.
So thank you, Lauren. The KCK Fire Department. Keep dropping in on or not. I don't think he's attending today, but if he passes along anything, I'll share it. KCK Police Department.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yay.
Hooray. Morning, everybody. I'm still Joe Priscilla with the police department. So, in case anybody's here, last few meetings I've been here. A couple events going on. So we've got today, East Patrol Division located 47th and State, kind of there by the where Indian Springs used to be. I think the actual address is 849 North 47th. They're having their open house. It'll be from 4 in the afternoon until 6 o'clock. Bunch of police officers will be there. Some other partners. They'll have that gaming trailer thing, I think. So if you guys want to come out and get I think they're going to be cooking some food and stuff. So it'll be a good opportunity to meet your officers and then also have an opportunity to get some food and hang out a little bit, see the police station. Normally, most people don't get to just walk around inside the police station, so you get to do that today. I am the division commander out at West Patrol. Ours is coming up, and I figure I mention it now since these meetings are normally towards the end of the month. But ours will be June 27th, which is also a Thursday. Same times to keep it easy, so 4 to 6. And our station is located at 1011 North 80th Terrace, just south of Chicken Go, the fire station there. I think we're going to partner with that fire station, so we'll have a lot of really cool stuff. If you want to, if you know of any kids or anybody who wants to come out and climb around on fire trucks and police vehicles and stuff like that. Another initiative that we've got going on that's kind of new and exciting is we are doing the chat books program, which is an acronym because we love acronyms, and it is children having access to books. What we're doing is we're partnering with the libraries here in KCK. We're basically getting books that they're not going to be utilizing anymore, putting them in cars, and then our officers are encouraged to stop and interact with children and then provide them a book. We know there's a lot of kids that don't have access to books in their home. They just don't have any. So we're hoping to kind of encourage kids to start reading and then giving them a book that they can then take home and read, maybe share with friends, and then hopefully come back and maybe interact with that officer again and have a conversation about it and maybe get a new book. So hopefully get kids reading more, which is always positive, especially for development and everything. So that's what I've got. So pretty brief. Thanks.
Thank you.
Joe, you're gonna have the gaming trailer down here.
Yeah, I believe so.
If that's for the kids, can you explain a little bit?
Sure, yeah. So we've got sort of a nice trailer that has like gaming consoles in it, and basically we can provide information on like dangers of fentanyl and all sorts of other stuff to kids, and then come out and play. Kids love gaming. I'm almost 40 and I love gaming, so everybody likes it. But they can come out, interact with police officers, and do something fun, and sort of another positive way that we can interact with kids and give them something neat. So if you have any kids that want to do that, come out and check that out. That's really neat. We had it at the Peace Walk earlier this year. It was the grand unveiling of it, and I think it was already a big hit. So I think it's going to be neat. So come grab a hot dog and play a video game.
Thank you.
Yep.
Question in the chat,
Mhm.
can people donate books?
So my understanding is right now the library actually has about 1,000 to 2,000 books that they are planning on removing from their catalog, and basically we're going to be able to utilize them for that. So right now I think we're covered. Moving forward, if this program's a really big hit and we start giving out a lot of books and kind of running low on stock, then there may be a need for donations. But as of right now, I think we're okay. So, but yeah, maybe here in the next few months or so, we might be coming and saying, hey, if you got some books, give us some. I think we're good for now.
And I saw, Linda, you have your hand raised. Did you have a question or something you wanted to add?
I just wanted to share, kind of piggybacking onto that the library is having their summer reading events starting June 1st through July 31st. There's events at every library. There's usually like one major event at each branch each week for the kids. The opening is May 30th at the Boulevard Drive-In at 7 o'clock. They're having a free movie for the kids. And there's also an art exhibit at the main library that is World on the Move that you might want to go check out. That's it.
Thank you. Wyandotte County Sheriff's Department. No, Sheriff Soptic is out. I don't think anybody else from the Sheriff's Department's here. All right, then BPU.
Hi, everybody. My name is Nick Moreno. I'm new to these meetings. There's a retirement in my department, so I am who you have now. So as you all know, we had a big event this week. We had 11,500 people out from the storms on Sunday night. And as of yesterday, we got that most of the people that were affected. We had to bring in crews from out of town as well as contractors in to help us. And we're looking into all of our communication responses and kind of doing an audit on how we responded to this. And we're going to make improvements and make sure that we're communicating well going forward. What I wanted to talk about today was that we have a new MyMeter program. So that is our new data management system. So I don't know if you were ever on our old customer portal. It was very old, kind of hard to use. This one is really cool and interactive, updated kind of to the standards of today. We are having a few issues with getting some people registered. So when you put in your name, it has to be exactly as it is on the bill, including a middle initial, middle name, whatever it says on that bill is what you have to put on there. And I have some flyers printed both English and Spanish I put over here, and I'll send them to kids digitally, so we have them.
Make sure that people understand it's not the name they see on the mailing. It's
Yes.
up in the right-hand top corner.
Okay.
Now it's listed that way because it's not necessarily said.
Okay, thank you for that feedback, because our customer service department is definitely letting me know every time we communicate anything. So, and a couple other things, just real quick. We send out a mass texting system that we send out from our number. We do a lot of communications about scams, and so we wanted to get people aware that that is changed to do a short code. It's going to be more reliable. You know, a lot of people weren't getting those texts, and so with the new short code, it's going to be a lot more reliable. People are going to get easier access to our information that is coming straight to text. Also, a short code. So instead, I don't know if you'll get texts from companies, and instead of being a full phone number, 7 phone number, it looks like be like a 4-digit code or something like that. So it so the number is like carriers will tend to block those big ones and call them scams. And so they won't send them to everybody. So the short code will be a little bit more reliable. So you'll be able to have access to our information quicker. Last thing, we have received an EPA grant last year. So we are going to be doing some replacing of aging infrastructure with our water lines. And I'm reaching out to neighborhood associations directly to give some more details and information on what kind of disruptions people receive from that. So I'll be reaching out to you if that will affect your neighborhood group. Thank you.
Thanks, Nick. Mayor's office, I saw Irene on.
I am. Good morning. Can you hear me? I often have trouble with can you hear me? Great.
Yep.
All right. I had a couple of items that have already been mentioned, but I do want to make sure that everyone understands the chat books really is an initiative of Where Are the Men's Community Group, Sheriff's Department, Police Department, and the Mayor's Office. So we will be doing some book collections. We're just trying to figure out where we store them and then get them to the sheriff's and police cars. The other is, yes, we definitely, the mayor was at every graduation, as well as doing read alouds in the classrooms. So we appreciate those opportunities. But I wanted to give a couple of announcements. The mayor's office is actually working on an honorary street name change for a community advocate and historian, Chester Owens, who sometimes attends the meeting. I don't think I see him there today. But the mayor's office, along with the commission and staff, are currently working through the process with an announcement to be made June 6th at the commission meeting. So we hope for your attendance and your well wishes for Mr. Owens as well. The county and administrator, administrator and the mayor are working on an announcement as the Indian Springs process is coming or has actually unfolded, and they are preparing for community to hear what is going to happen at Indian Springs, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, with a strategic communications announcement. And last, I'll just say, as the unified government moves through the budget season, the mayor very much hopes that you are attending and continuing to be informed of those budget presentations, as he will continue his efforts to really look at advocacy of any tax or BPU pilot relief that he and the commission can really take a look at for residents. And that's it for the mayor's office.
Yeah. Thank you.
I got a question.
Sure.
Where are we on changing the rec center to Mr. Watson?
We are on it. So we are looking for the best times, but especially for family to actually unveil that. So the sign and everything is kind of done. It's just working with the family to get that unveiled.
Outstanding.
Staff
Thank you.
and the family. But that will be coming soon as well. I just don't have a date for you.
Thank you. The district attorney's office? You guys saw anybody from the DA's office? UG Strategic Communication, do you have anything else for us?
I'm in the room, but Ashley also, yeah, but Ashley also may jump in. I just wanted to remind everyone,
They might not be able to.
oh, sorry.
Screen cap. You have to come to the front, Crystal.
So, hey, everyone. So in addition to the East Patrol's open house tonight, there's also going to be running simultaneously at the same location from 4 to 7. Transit Department is doing a hiring fair. So if you know anyone that's looking to drive a bus, operator, I think it's like $23.07 per hour, great benefits. And it's going to be at the same location. So kind of can kill two birds with one stone. In addition to, there's also, I wrote the one inside. Wyandotte County Lake is back open as of today. I just updated the website and it's on social media, so please pass the word. And everything's back open, and so we'll be open for the holidays. Good. And Ashley may also have some.
Okay, thanks, Crystal.
Just a quick one. It is getting warmer out there. We posted an article on our website about how to monitor air quality around you. It is wildfire season, which can have a significant impact on the quality of our air, even if it comes from Canada. So there's some really great tips and tricks in terms of how you can find information and be more aware of how air quality will impact your health and your overall well-being. So just like heat, the air quality is something that we monitor very closely over the summer, and certainly it's good to know and be aware. So please share that with your neighbors.
Thank you. UG Neighborhood Resource Center, is Greg still in here? No, okay, he had a message for me to pass along if he had any. So the NRC is working to get open positions filled, and there's some new hires that have been made. But it'll still take some time to make sure folks are trained and ready to take on their full duties, but there has been progress made on getting folks hired. For both, I believe, both building inspection and property maintenance compliance positions. UG Planning and Urban Design, anything else on that end?
Yeah, sure. Hi again, everyone. So next, oh.
I think sometimes our mic doesn't pick up folks way back there.
No, it's okay. So the next review of the land bank policy update is going to be on June 3rd. That's the neighborhood and community development standing committee meeting. I believe that's at 5 p.m. It should be hybrid as well. What's the other thing I was going to say? Oh, and then next Thursday at the Board of Commissioners meeting, if you're interested at all in the food trucks ordinance amendments, that would be the one to go to. So
June, so that's May 30th.
Next
sure. Next Thursday. Yeah, that's it for me.
Thanks, Alyssa. All right, and then I have anything else from the Wyandotte County Health Department?
I have a couple things that I have. If there's nobody else there, I think Nina's there, but
I think we got a few people, but go ahead, Dustin.
I was gonna say, yeah, the health department's now providing tobacco treatment services free for all residents. So if anyone's tried quitting smoking or chewing or anything like that, we have a specialist that can help with the resources and support you need. Again, that's free for all residents. We're also now a milk bank, so women can come to the health department to donate breast milk, which will go to campus hospitals. Breast milk is very important to babies in ICU. So that's a service that we're now offering as well.
Thanks, Dustin. Anything else from the health department from folks that are in here?
What about our chip launch?
You want to talk about the chip?
I could talk about the chip.
Okay.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
I don't have any materials, but the chip supervisor just left, so I'm outside of getting any information. So our community health improvement plan for 2024 to 2028 just launched at the beginning of this month. You folks already might have heard about it, but I wanted to reinforce and make sure Livable Neighborhoods is heading one of the strategies under violence prevention. And we have that in addition to 4 other key areas that we're going to be working on, which include behavioral health. It includes safe and affordable housing, jobs and education, and healthcare access. All of our lead agencies are working hard on that. There's a lot of collaboration across partners, across our partner network, and we can send out some links to get more information on that. Since I didn't bring any materials, I didn't think to speak about it, but we're very excited about it. I'm very excited about it. So yes, thank you.
Thanks, Hannah. We'll be sure to pass along anything that we receive about the community health improvement plan. And as Hannah mentioned, Livable Neighborhoods is a co-lead on violence prevention, and we are focusing on community connectedness. Okay, so that got through all of our department updates. So now we have about 30 minutes for additional community announcements. Folks in here, if you want to come up to the front and give your announcements, and then if you want to raise your hand online to give announcements or put them in the chat, either one, we'll go back and forth. So I'll go first. I'm Rose Ilves. I'm the president of the Strawberry Hill Neighborhood Association. We have our annual pub crawl coming up on Saturday, June 22nd. Even if you don't drink or don't want to come, you can still give us money. It's our big fundraiser. For the past several years, we've been raising money to put a park in, a playground at St. John's Park. That seems to be a never-ending process. So while we're still raising, part of the money will go towards the playground, we're also branching out and spending some of the money on we have 2 gardens. We have Deal Orchard on 7th Street, just south of Sandusky. And we have a memorial park, which 2 of our neighbors do a fabulous job with, volunteer-wise. It's at Thompson and Barnett. So come visit those. You can just click on the link. I've got a, what do you call it? QCR code. QR code, yeah. And, but it's going to be fun. And we have one of the new bars had to back out because it's where the Mockingbird used to be, because I don't think they've got all their licensing and stuff done. But Dewey's is where Sarah's on the Hill or Chente's was. And the Davenport is where my Manor Records was. So, we've got all the regulars. So it's a lot of fun. We raise a lot of money. It's a lot of work, but it's for a good cause. So yeah, take a flyer, put these up anywhere, send money, all of that. Thank you. Adrienne, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I'm Adrienne. I'm a budget analyst in the UG budget office, and I'm just here to give one last final plug for the budget simulators. Our community outreach part of the budget process is coming to a close. We do have our public hearing on June 6th. That's 2 weeks from today. That's at 7 o'clock in the commission chambers. And that's your opportunity to speak with the commission directly about what you would like to see in the 2025 budget. Everyone gets like a short amount of time to speak per person. I think it's like 2 minutes. But then you also have the opportunity to fill out our budget simulators online. So I will put those URLs in the chat today. We do have over 100 responses on our city budget simulator and 75 responses on our county simulator. So don't miss out on your chance to be heard for your community input on our budget.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Katie Ramirez. I work for Central Avenue Betterment Association. If you haven't seen, our building took it really bad over the storm or on the storm over the weekend. We do have a GoFundMe page, so if you guys want to help out that way, that'd be greatly appreciated. If not, if you guys have extra space, since we are a co-working space building, we do have several organizations that don't have somewhere to work from. I think we got most of them down, but just in case, reach out to Kayla or I can give my information to Kayla and have her spread the word out. Yeah, if you guys have any way to help us, it would be greatly appreciated. We just need all the support we can get. So thank you.
Good morning. Morning. Last Thursday, we held our 2023-24 commencement ceremonies from Kansas City, Kansas Community College out of Community Children's Mercy Park. And we graduated just shy of 1,000 people with degrees and certificates of some kind. And we had just shy of 550 graduates that participated in the ceremony, which is one of the largest crowds that we've had. Of course, if you have it at Children's Mercy Park, you can handle a whole lot of them. So with that officially concludes our centennial year, if you will. This is the centennial year for the community college. And so it officially sort of concludes with that graduation. Last thing I'll say is the work at the 7th and State, between 6th and 7th and State on the Downtown Education, Health and Wellness Center is continuing. All of the old buildings, if you've been down there, are gone. There's like several holes in the ground there right now. And we have to do some shoring work because part of the basements of some of those buildings actually extended under the sidewalk and even under that right-hand lane of westbound State Avenue. So we have to shore all of that up so the sidewalk and the street doesn't begin to collapse. And then, we will be going vertical, hopefully sometime later this summer. We did finally receive last Thursday, no, a week ago Monday, the final approvals from the unified government to be able to go. So we appreciate all that process. So go by every once in a while and see how the landscape is changing down there. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. So thank you.
It looks like you're stockpiling some of the stones and stuff from the construction, from the demolition to use in new construction.
Well, actually, that's partially true. We've had a lot of construction people reach out to us because, for example, the brick that was used in that historic church, they don't make it anymore. And so they want to collect and gather and have that as they do repair jobs on some of the older buildings that they get contracted to work on. So we're recycling, and trying to be eco-sensitive and
You are using a few of those bricks and stuff in the new,
pardon me?
and you are kind of creating a little.
We will
historic
have
time.
some of the brick that we would use and some, a lot of other significant artifacts that we harvested, if you will, from the church. And they're going to be incorporated into the new build. And so there'll be a community room. And that's where a lot of that material will be integrated into the new construction. So, and then a wall and, really highlighting and featuring the history of that church, and it will be preserved forever. So, all right, thank you. I think 3 minutes are up.
Anybody else have any announcements? Wow, quiet bunch today. All right, well, thank you so much for coming. Again, I do have those grant checks available. If you're online, feel free to come by and pick it up, or I can mail it to you. And please be sure to sign in if you're here in person, so we can get credit for all the wonderful people who show up here. Thank you all.